Old Lord Capulet insisted, "'Tis all Lord Montague's doing." Lord Montague in turn declared, "Blame Lord Capulet. He began it." But to tell the truth, neither they nor anyone else could quite remember how the feud between their two families had started. Perhaps it was only the blustering of old men who were no longer young enough to swing a sword, and had only proud words left with which to try to show their manhood. Now those sharp words had turned to sharp blows, as the young men of their two families had become caught up in the quarrel. The Montagues and the Capulets were two of the noblest families in the Italian town of Verona, and should have known better. After all, wasn't Italy Europe's center of wisdom and learning? And wasn't Verona perfectly up to date with all that was current here in the 14th century? Yet on 3 separate occasions now, the ruler of Verona, Prince Aeschylus, had to break up arguments that had turned to violence in the streets. Now everyone knew the prince might sternly punish anyone who started another such incident. But when 2 of Lord Capulet's servants met 2 of Lord Montague's servants in a public square, they proved to be as foolish as their masters.
"Look, Samson, here come 2 of the house of Montague. Don't worry, Gregory. I am here to back you up with my sword if they say anything rude." "That's exactly what does worry me." "Well, just let them start something, and we'll show them our steel." "Samson, remember the prince's displeasure." "I won't say a word. I'll just make a rude gesture as they pass by."
A moment later, the Montague servants turned and demanded, "Do you mean that gesture for us?"
I simply make the gesture. You may take it for yourself if you wish." "If it's a quarrel you seek, we're prepared to show we serve the best lord in Verona."
And all 4 drew their swords. Instantly the air was filled with the sound of metal blade clanging on metal blade. Just then, around the corner came the young nephew of Lord Montague, Benvolio. "Stop, fools!" Benvolio shouted at the 4 servants, and drew his own sword, intending to slip it between those of the servants and break up their fight. But attracted by the sounds of conflict, around the other corner rushed Tybalt, the nephew of Lord and Lady Capulet, and he was as ready for a fight as Benvolio was intent on preventing one. Seeing Benvolio with his sword in his hand, Tybalt drew his own, shouting,
"What, Montague? You attack our servants? Then turn and see your own death in my hand."
"Put up your sword, Tybalt. I drew only to separate them and keep the peace."
"Peace? I hate the word, as I hate all Montagues. Turn and fight."
And Tybalt attacked with such fury that Benvolio had to defend himself. In moments, the sounds of battle attracted others of the Capulets and Montagues, and the street was awash in fighting. Lord and Lady Capulet themselves suddenly came into sight.
"My sword!"
exclaimed his lordship, but his wife grabbed his arm.
"Your crutch, you mean?" she said. "You're too old to fight, husband."
As he struggled to shake her off, he saw his enemies, Lord and Lady Montague, arrive. Lord Montague shouted,
"This is your doing, Capulet!"
and he too shouted for a sword. But Lady Montague seized her husband's arm and exclaimed,
"You will not stir 1 foot to seek a foe."
And it was at that exact moment that the noble ruler of Verona, Prince Aeschylus, appeared, followed by a line of his officers and guardsmen.
"Stop at once!"
shouted the prince, struggling to be heard over all the noise and confusion.
"Rebellious subjects, enemies to peace, stop and throw your weapons to the ground."
When all had obeyed, the prince declared,
"Capulet, Montague, 4 times now your rivalries have led to brawling in our streets. Disturb our peace again, and you shall pay with your lives. Now, let everyone return home."
For more titles from Jim Weiss and Well-Trained Mind Press, please visit us at jimweiss.com or welltrainedmind.com. Thank you for listening.